Los Angeles had always been a city filled with allure, a place where endless possibilities seemed within reach. I had spent enough years here to witness it all, the exhilaration, the dangers, and the indulgences. But nothing had ever made my pulse quicken like seeing him. It all started when I placed an advertisement for a tenant. My husband, bless his predictable nature, had always been the pragmatic type. He viewed the extra room as an opportunity for additional income. I, however, saw it as a door to the unexpected. And indeed, something unexpected did happen. Make sure to subscribe so I can continue sharing more captivating true stories like this one. Don't forget to watch this video until the very end and show your support by hitting the like button. This story is going to be incredibly compelling. He arrived on a Tuesday afternoon in September, the golden sunlight spilling like honey through the blinds. His name was Kil, a newcomer to the city, still learning to navigate the fast-paced world of Los Angeles. He was younger than me, much younger, but there was an undeniable quality about him that made age irrelevant. His presence commanded attention effortlessly. He exuded a quiet self-assurance, a slow-burning fire that filled the space around him. His physique was striking, broad shoulders tapering into a lean waist, his skin a deep, rich brown. He moved with the confidence of someone who knew exactly how much space he occupied and had no hesitation in claiming it. And his voice, low, smooth, like a slow jazz melody, resonated through me each time he spoke. For the first few weeks, I kept my distance, careful not to let curiosity turn into something more. I observed from afar, listening as he spoke about his aspirations, his ambitions, and his efforts to adapt to the city. He was courteous, considerate, always willing to lend a hand when I needed one. Then came the night of the chandelier. One of the lights in the guest room had been flickering for weeks, so I finally resolved to fix it. Knowing my husband, always buried in work, wouldn't bother, I asked Kil if he could help. As always, he agreed. That night, as he climbed the ladder to adjust the fixture, I stood below, telling myself I was merely ensuring his safety. But my gaze had other intentions. His body moved with fluid precision, muscles shifting under his skin as he reached up. Naturally, his shirt was off. It was warm, it was Los Angeles, and he had just finished a workout before I requested his help. I couldn't look away. The way his biceps tightened, the curve of his back, the sheen of sweat catching the dim light. He was mesmerizing. Something inside me stirred, something I hadn't felt in years. It wasn't just desire, though that was certainly there. It was something deeper, more untamed. I didn't just want him. I wanted control, to make him unravel the way I felt myself coming undone. He must have sensed my stare because at one point he turned, meeting my eyes. A knowing smile played on his lips, and for a fleeting second, I forgot to breathe. Then, as quickly as it came, the moment passed. He finished fixing the light, climbed down, wiped his hands on his jeans, and flashed me that effortless, charming grin. "All set," he said, his voice smooth as whiskey. I managed a thank you, though my voice was softer than usual. He nodded, stretching his arms overhead, and for a brief moment, I imagined trailing my fingers down his chest, feeling every ridge of muscle, but I didn't, not yet. That night, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, my body hummed with an energy I hadn't known in years. I knew exactly what I wanted. The only question was, did he? Tomorrow I would find out. Standing outside his door, the hallway dimly lit, my heartbeat drummed in anticipation. I had chosen my outfit deliberately, something light, something intentional. A silk robe that barely clung to my frame, loosely tied just enough to tease but not fully reveal. Taking a breath, I raised my hand and knocked. After a brief pause, footsteps approached. When the door opened, there he stood. His stance relaxed, but his gaze sharp. He wore only sweatpants, his sculpted chest bare before me. His skin glistened slightly. He must have just finished a workout. My eyes lingered just long enough for him to notice. "Hey," I said, keeping my tone casual. "I was wondering if you'd like some company." His brow lifted slightly. "Company?" I smiled just a little. "Just some conversation." His lips curled into a thoughtful smirk, but he stepped aside, allowing me in. As I brushed past him, the soft fabric of my robe whispered against his arm. The room smelled distinctly of him, warm, familiar. It was tidy but lived in. A laptop sat open on the desk, sneakers placed neatly by the door. I turned, my fingers idly playing with the sash of my robe. "I realized something earlier," I murmured. His voice remained steady. "What's that?" My husband's away, I said, glancing briefly at the tie on my robe. He's visiting family in Redlands. He won't be back until tomorrow night. Kill's face revealed little, but the air in the room thickened. I perched on the edge of his bed, my knee grazing his. I guess I just started feeling a bit lonely, I admitted, tracing a small circle on his knee with my fingertip, expecting a teasing remark or perhaps a retreat. But instead, a quiet chuckle escaped him, low and knowing, as though he had anticipated this moment all along. Then, without hesitation, he moved. His hand caught my wrist, halting my motion, while his other arm encircled my waist, pulling me closer. His grip was firm, his presence overwhelming, his breath warm against my skin. Then his lips met mine, and there was no hesitation in his kiss. Only intensity, urgency, an eagerness I hadn't been prepared for. I melted into him, fingers weaving into his short hair, my body pressing against his heat. The silk of my robe slipped slightly, revealing my shoulder, and immediately his hand was there, tracing slow, deliberate patterns across the newly exposed skin. I released a quiet sigh, leaning into his touch, but he didn't hurry. He was patient, his lips trailing along my jawline, moving slowly down my throat. His hands moved with the same deliberate confidence, and every nerve in my body ignited. Yet Kill remained in charge. I had assumed I was in control, but I had been mistaken. He knew exactly what he was doing, and I was utterly at his mercy. The night unfolded at a slow, heated pace, filled with whispered words and smoldering tension. By the time the city stirred with the first rays of dawn, I knew one thing for certain. This wouldn't be the last time. Morning light filtered through the blinds, casting golden streaks across Kill's bare back as he lay beside me, his breathing deep and steady. I hadn't truly slept. Instead, I had spent the night tangled in him, his body, his touch, his warmth. I had come here thinking I was in control of the game, but Kill had rewritten the rules before I could even make my first move. He had taken over, claimed me completely, and I craved more. I propped myself up on one elbow, my gaze tracing the curve of his spine as my fingers lightly followed. His skin radiated warmth, and though he stirred slightly, he didn't wake. Last night had been unlike anything I'd experienced in years, perhaps ever. The way he handled me, as if he knew precisely what I needed before I did, left me breathless. There had been no hesitation, no uncertainty. I had come to him intending to tease, but he had seen straight through it. He had seen me. And now, I wanted to see him again. I slipped carefully from the bed, loosely tying my robe around me. A satisfied ache lingered in my body, a mix of contentment and hunger for more. Glancing back at Kill, I noticed the relaxed ease in his sleeping face. His lips slightly parted. He was beautiful. I walked down the hallway toward my own room, stepping inside just as the city outside began to come alive. The apartment remained quiet, thick with the remnants of the night before. Entering the bathroom, I turned on the shower, watching the steam rise as I caught my reflection in the mirror. My skin glowed, my lips were slightly swollen, and my hair was tousled. I looked different. I felt different. As the water cascaded over me, I let my mind replay every sensation from the previous night, every touch, every sound. A slow, satisfied smile curved my lips. I wasn't finished with him yet. The day passed in a haze of restless anticipation. I distracted myself with small tasks, checking emails, rearranging bookshelves, anything to keep my hands busy, but my mind remained elsewhere. By evening, my patience had worn thin. I found myself standing outside Kill's door again, this time with no hesitation. I knocked, my fingers tightening around my robe's belt, my heartbeat steady but eager. He answered almost immediately, and the moment his eyes met mine, something flickered. Amusement, recognition, desire. He didn't speak. He simply stepped aside, allowing me in. The door clicked shut behind me, and just like that, we resumed where we had left off. No small talk, no pretense, just touch, lips, skin. He lifted me effortlessly, carrying me to the bed as though I weighed nothing, pressing me into the mattress, his warmth engulfing me. I gasped, arching against him, and he grinned against my neck, his hold firm and possessive. I wasn't used to this. I was accustomed to taking charge, setting the rhythm, dictating the course of things. But with Kill, there was no need to think, no need to plan. I only had to feel. And God, did I feel. The night stretched on, filled with breathless laughter, teasing caresses and whispered names. When I finally collapsed against him, exhausted and satiated, I knew there was no turning back. I had crossed a line and I had no desire to stop. The following night, I didn't wait for an excuse, nor did I pretend to resist. I knocked on Kill's door again, but this time I wasn't playing coy. The moment he opened it, standing before me in just sweatpants, I stepped inside without hesitation, pressing my palm against his chest as I guided him backward into the room. His muscles tensed slightly beneath my touch, but his face remained unreadable, save for the faint smirk curling at the edge of his lips. "Couldn't stay away, huh?" he murmured. I didn't respond. Words felt unnecessary. Instead, I loosened the knot of my robe, letting it slide from my shoulders to the floor. Kill's gaze darkened with intensity, his breath catching slightly before he stepped forward, his hands settling firmly on my waist. There was something electrifying about how effortlessly he led me with just the lightest touch. He was in no hurry, his fingers tracing my hips, gliding upward, igniting warmth in every inch of me. I inhaled sharply as he lifted me with ease, pressing me gently against the door, my legs wrapping around his waist. The cool wood met my back as his body radiated heat against mine. Leaning in, I let my lips brush against his ear. "You like me like this?" I whispered. His quiet chuckle rumbled against my skin. "You know I do." Then he kissed me. Slow at first, deliberate, savoring every second before the urgency took over. Each shared breath deepened my grip on his shoulders, my fingers digging into the solid strength beneath them. The way he held me carried a sense of ownership, and I found myself reveling in every moment of it. He carried me to the bed, lowering me onto it with controlled ease before settling beside me. The night unfolded like an unspoken melody, shifting between tenderness and urgency, playful teasing and raw intensity. I had never felt so entirely consumed. And when we finally collapsed, breathless and entwined in the sheets, I knew this was only the beginning. I understood this wasn't just an accident. It felt more like an unavoidable attraction, something I couldn't easily resist. I woke to the gentle patter of rain against the window, a rare sound in Los Angeles. My body ached, a lingering reminder of the intensity of the night before. But when I turned over to find Kill, his side of the bed was empty. Sitting up, I clutched the sheets, a slight frown crossing my face. Then I heard it. The steady stream of water from the shower. A slow smile spread across my lips as I stretched, my body still humming from the memories of the night. I had never done this before, never stayed after. Usually I slipped away before the morning sun could make everything feel too real. But this time was different. My fingers traced the sheets, still warm where he had been. My heart pounded a little harder, and deep down, I knew I had already fallen too far. But I wasn't ready to care. Not yet. Not when every part of me still longed for him. The sound of the shower running was a steady rhythm in the background, but my thoughts were anything but calm. I leaned back against the pillows, inhaling his lingering scent on the sheets. My body ached in the best way. I should have left. That had always been my rule. Keep it light, keep it physical, and never let it turn into something more. But I didn't move. Instead, I closed my eyes, my fingers absent-mindedly trailing the spot where he had been just moments before, my skin still tingling from his touch. Then the water shut off. A moment later, the bathroom door swung open and Kill stepped out. A towel slung low around his hips, steam swirling around him like a vision out of a dream. His skin was damp, droplets sliding down the ridges of his abs. I swallowed hard, gripping the sheets a little tighter. He smirked when he saw me still in bed. "Didn't expect you to stick around?" I raised an eyebrow, feigning indifference. I was comfortable. He moved toward me with slow, deliberate steps. "Is that right?" I nodded, though my breath hitched when his fingers trailed along my bare thigh, teasing. "I thought you'd be gone before I woke up," he murmured. I tilted my chin up, pretending his touch hadn't already sent my mind spinning. "Why would I leave?" I asked. His smirk widened. "Because you don't seem like the type who stays." A soft laugh escaped my lips. He wasn't wrong, but instead of answering, I slid my fingers beneath the towel at his waist, pulling it free and letting it drop to the floor. His gaze darkened instantly, and before I had time to react, he was on me again, pressing me into the mattress. His body was hot and solid against mine, and in an instant, we were lost in each other once more. After that, the days blurred together. I stopped pretending it was a one-time thing. I stopped pretending I had any control at all. Every night, I ended up in Kill's bed, tangled in his sheets, whispering his name into the darkness. I craved him. The way he moved, the way he touched me as if he already knew every secret my body had to offer. The way he looked at me like he didn't care that I was older, that I was married, that this should never have happened in the first place. I told myself it was just an escape, that it didn't mean anything. But every time he pulled me close, every time his lips met mine, every time I surrendered to him completely, I knew I was lying. I wasn't just addicted to his body, I was falling, and I had no idea how to stop. One evening, as I slipped out of his bed, pulling my robe around me, Kill propped himself up on one elbow, that familiar, knowing smirk playing on his lips. "You know you don't have to keep sneaking out," he said. I turned to face him, tightening the belt around my waist. "I'm not sneaking," he chuckled. "Then stay." I hesitated. It was the first time he had asked me to stay. Really stay. And God help me, I wanted to. But I knew better. I shook my head, forcing a small smile. "You don't understand." He sat up, running a hand along his jaw, his gaze locking onto mine. "Then explain it to me." I paused, my heart hammering, my skin still buzzing from his touch. Then, before I could stop myself, the words spilled out. "I think I'm in love with you." The room fell silent. His expression remained unreadable, but something flickered in his eyes. Something I couldn't quite decipher. Slowly, he exhaled, sitting back. "Say that again." I swallowed, my throat suddenly dry. I had never meant to say it out loud, but now that I had, there was no taking it back. I was in love with Kill, and the truth had finally caught up with me,